Sorry, there were some issues. So can someone confirm if I'm audible right now?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry for the disruptions earlier. So a very warm greeting to everyone gathered here today. It is my distinct honor to introduce a distinguished member of the IIT Bhubaneswar family, Mr. Yaadish Khan. Since graduating in 2012, his journey has been nothing short of exceptional. From the early days as a software engineer at Alter Engineering to the dynamic startup landscape, Mr. Yaadish has left an indelible mark. As the principal architect of Nikki.ai, he contributed significantly to the development of an AI-based chatbot for sales and e-commerce. His entrepreneurial spirit led him to co-found Musk Tech, and he played instrumental roles at Turtlemint, ultimately co-founding Table and assuming the role of co-founder and CEO. Today, he stands as the head of product at Tata Digital, shaping the future of product management. Join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Yaadish Khan, whose diverse experiences promise to enrich our understanding of product management and career opportunities. Thank you, sir, for giving your valuable time.
Yeah, no problem. First of all, you shouldn't be calling me sir. You can call me Yaadish. That's just good enough. Yeah.
No, sir, you have like earned this honor. So
no. In no campus across IIT, alumni are called sir. Right? People just call them by the first name. Respect is just in the tone. Doesn't have to be punctuated by sir. Right? So you can call me Yaadish. Don't worry about it. Let me know when you want me to quickly start. I can just.
Yes, sir. Like we can start. We can start now.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. I'm able to see.
Perfect. Good. So basically, what we'll do is I'll run this for about 45-50 minutes, which is what the length of the presentation will be, and then maybe at the end we can take some questions in the context of what we are trying to sort of go through today. I'm going to take you through a little bit of depth in what product management is. I built this deck primarily from the perspective of fresh graduates or early in their career folks who want to pick up product management as a career path. And just to clarify, when I talk about product management, this is software product management. There are other sort of fields of product management in hardware and then in manufacturing, FMCG, etc. This is not that. They have their own sort of set of feature sets. The one that I am talking about is purely from a software product management and its own sort of challenges and nuances. So on the screen, basically, are the three products that I have worked on in my last three roles. The center one is Tata New, which is a super app built by Tata Digital, which is where I work right now as head of product for InsurTech. I lead one of the category, and Tata New is one of the channels for Tata Digital. There are several such apps under Tata Digital, and the InsurTech category is what I build there. The left one is Turtlemint, which is almost $1 billion InsurTech startup now in India, and one to be soon profitable as well. On the right-hand side is Payable, which is my last startup, which was in the payments and credit space for small and medium-scale enterprises. But to be clear, this is not product management is not just about apps. It could be any and all consumer experience on this front. So first of all, just quickly taking you through why you should be even listening to me, when it comes to product management, right? What credentials do I bring to the table that folks from the campus should be listening to what I have to say about it. So I think I sort of categorize the 12 years of my career in three parts. One is the engineering part, one is the pure product part, and third one is entrepreneurship part. When I started out back in 2012, when I graduated, I was the first batch of IIT Bhubaneswar, 8 to 12. There's no alumni at that point to sort of tell me what kind of a career path to pick, right? Or for that matter, actually, even product management was just picking up. It was a very new branch at that point, and typically only a few companies like Flipkart, etc., were offering product management role, and that too not at an entry level, right? So what I did is I started out as an engineer on the software side with a company called Altair Engineering. Fortunately for me, at that point, Altair was also starting out its CTO program, which was basically picking up freshers from IITs. So it went around almost 6 campuses and hired 4 people for its program, and I was lucky to be one of them. And then from Altair, I went on to do architecture and web programming and app programming with Nikki.ai.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir, but your mic is muted.
Is it audible now? Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible.
Has it been muted all the time, or?
No, just from the past, like 1 minute or 2.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, what I was saying is software engineering sort of taught me that tech could have really non-linear outcomes. You could invest a little bit of cost in building high quality technology, and that will give you sort of non-linear exponential returns in terms of revenue, in terms of customer experience, etc. Right. Then I moved on to product roles, pure product roles. So I started out in Turtlement as a product manager, grew into head of product over 5 years. I saw Turtlement go from a few hundred customers to more than 1 million customers. The revenue, valuation, everything jumped more than 200 times during the 5-year tenure. So it was a great learning experience to start a very young Series A funded startup company to take it to where it is right now. And even from a product standpoint, you start out with a much more chaotic system, and then sort of get into a very data first sort of product roadmap generation. So that was on the Turtle side. On Tata Neu, I recently started the role here. I'm the head of product for InsurTech, and I led the app, web, Tata Neu, and the other channels for Tata Digital. Everywhere we sort of try and either create insurance as a separate category or embed insurance in purchases that are happening on the platform. And the third piece is the entrepreneurship piece, and I've sort of worked on 2 such stints. One was back in 2015. It's called Musk Technologies. It was in credit space for small and medium scale businesses, and we were trying to build a product called supply chain finance. I think we were maybe a year and a half early. 2017 is when GST launched, and that sort of paved way to actually building very deep supply chain finance companies of today. And then the latest one was Payable, where I was trying to build a payments and credit product for, again, micro and small businesses on the rails of UPI and IMPS, etc. So the entrepreneurship part sort of helped me pick up one core functionality or core sort of requirement from a product manager, which is typically ownership, end-to-end ownership. And again, one of the key things that entrepreneurship also teaches you is to care deeply about your customers, which is again a very, very fundamental skill to have when you're doing product management, right? So I think I've had this sort of interesting, unique experience, and I've had my unique learnings from those. Uh, and No two people typically have the same experience, so everybody's learnings are sort of what they take from their experiences. I'll in the sort of coming slides talk a little bit about how my learnings have been and sort of what did I learn about product management from there. It may vary a little bit, but I think this is a general framework to think about product and how to get a product job. Hope this helps. Yeah. The other thing is, why should you care about product management in general? I'm sure most of you are already keen on product as a role, but I'm not taking that for granted. So just to sort of sell the opportunity, this is a list of top 7 companies by market cap in the world. And why I picked 7 is basically these are 7 companies which have over $1 trillion market capitalization today. And 6 out of 7 are product first companies. 4 out of those 6 are software product first. 2 are
The slides are not, Yaadish, the slides are not visible. Only the first slide is coming that what is product management.
Is it
Yes.
visible now?
Now it's visible.
Can you see it changing?
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay, perfect. So, so basically, the opportunity is immense. Is what I wanted to communicate. Product management is basically one of the most crucial and one of the most highly paid roles at every level in these organizations. You pick Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, any of the Meta products, right? And I've had good fortune to have friends in all of these companies working in different product roles, and what I gather from them is that their role is extremely critical, as is in some of the companies that I've worked in, and which is why I would say you guys should be fairly excited about the kind of opportunity in product management. So one of the key questions, right, is what is product management, right? And it's not a very straightforward question to answer, right? At least translating what you do into what it means is not very simple, right? Because what you see in the screen is actually almost exactly how it happens, right? When you start meeting people and they ask what you do, you tend to tell them that you do several things, and it becomes really hard for them to understand what you really do, right? So some people you turn out to be a business analyst, to some people you're closer to a designer, some people you look like a quality analyst, some people you are a data analyst, right? So it is a fairly confusing, ambiguous answer, and this is what used to happen to me when I was at Turtlemint, right? And I used to speak to a bunch of folks at Turtlemint, right, to explain what I did. So I carved out a definition for myself, and it is product management is a function where you have to be, a jack of all trades. But what I realized is to be a good product manager, you have to be a jack of all trades and a master of one instead of being a master of none, right? So essentially, to me, that one mastery is about figuring out customer needs and aligning them to business needs, right? So, in an organization, everybody talks about their outputs, right? A sales will talk about how much revenue they are bringing. Engineering will talk about how much code they're shipping, right? But who talks about what the customers actually need, right? The product manager has that core role, right? That's the core function of product manager, to talk to customers, bring their needs on the table whenever it's up for discussion, right? Understand their needs and then also align the needs with the business needs, right? Customers may need 100 things, right? But which of those needs will generate revenue and will align with the business needs of your organization? That's super important, right? For instance, I'll give you a quick example. In Turtlement, right? Turtlement, one of the core segments for us were of customers for us were uh, insurance agents, right? Now, insurance agents have a lot of different needs, right? One of the needs is they want to set up webinars and seminars and events in their hometowns for customers to come and attend, right? But did that role really align with our business needs? Probably not, right? We realized that our business needs were primarily in the digital space, right? So we wanted to set up the agents to do well in the digital marketing space rather than in the offline world, which is why sort of my job was to build out, take that inherent need of the agent to meet a lot of customers, but build a digital space for that instead of a physical one, right? So that's one of the core roles, right? And another sort of definition that I really like is the one by Sachin Rekhi. Sachin was he's actually co-founder of NoteJoy. He's one of the most followed guys on product. The ex-head of product at LinkedIn, etc. So he says product managers drive vision, strategy, design, and execution of the product. The reason I like this definition is because it sort of takes every level of what a product manager does, right? It goes from 30,000 feet level of vision to a day-to-day execution level, right? And covers everything, right? It goes from vision to 5,000 feet strategy to a 1,000 feet design and to a ground zero execution, right? I'll talk about these a little bit as well. What each of these individually mean. So vision, predominantly comes from something that you are seeing, right? It's about you, transporting yourself sometime in the future, right? And figuring out how your customers would behave in the future, right? How will they solve the problems that they have today in the future, right? And that typically that visualization of the future is your vision, right? For instance, in SpaceX's case, Elon Musk say transports himself 30 years in the future, right? And sees that the only way to survive for a human species is to be an interplanetary species, right? Which means that you don't depend completely on Earth, but you live on Mars and maybe other planets as well, right? So that's the vision, that's the grand vision that SpaceX works with, right? Then from the visions, you have to come to the how of it, right? How do you build a path from here to that 30 years plan, right? That becomes your strategy, right? For instance, in Amazon's case, right, when Jeff Bezos says your margin is my opportunity, it means that their strategy is to always be cost competitive, right? Which means they'll always sort of strive to be the cheapest in terms of the SKU price, right? Whichever marketplace they're competing with, they'll always want to be at the lowest price possible, right? Then design, which is typically now taking that strategy and sort of putting it into a form and shape which is both useful and usable by the consumer, right? So it becomes more tangible. Now customers should be able to look at it, understand it. It should be useful for them, which means it solves a genuine problem for them. But at the same time, it should also be usable. It shouldn't be very hard to use, which is where design comes in. And if you look at, Apple products in general, they've been built on that principle that, as a PM, you distill your thoughts so much that it becomes a very, very simple thing for your customers, right? You can keep all complexity behind and make it clean and simple for your customer. And then the final and one of the most overlooked part of product management is execution, where typically this is what takes an idea to an actual product, and this is where most organizations fail, most products fail. It's not on the idea, it's not on design, strategy, anything, right? This is where the hard work comes in. This is where you'll have to slog along, work with multiple teams, right? And this is where your product can shine, right? Uh, I'll just leave it there for you guys to take a look at it and just quickly run you through as well. Maybe take a minute of pause here. Um, if you guys have any questions, you can keep posting it in the chat or in the Q&A, etc. I'll take those at the end. Yeah, so the slide typically talks a little bit about what are the major things that a PM does, right? And like I said, a product manager is a jack of all trades, right? Which means they have to do a lot of things, right? It's not a singular job, right? And some of these things are low frequency, like defining product strategy, etc., might be once in a quarter kind of a thing, right? Engaging with customers might be once a month kind of a thing, right? But some of these are very high frequency that you have to do on a day-to-day basis, like defining product requirements, working with the tech teams, design teams, marketing teams, collaborating with other functions, reviewing metrics. Some of these are high frequency activities, right, which you have to do day in and day out. So if you look at the day in the life of a product manager, right, an average day is about 3-4 core things, right? One is maybe early in the morning, you look at the essential metrics of your product, right, to see if your product is performing well, if there's any disturbance in your product, right? For instance, you look at WhatsApp, right? If you are the PM for WhatsApp, you every day morning you are going to look at the active user count on WhatsApp, right, which is a very high number. Maybe you're looking at by geography and you look at India and you're seeing some 200 million daily active users every day, right? Suddenly you come one day and you see 150 daily active users, right? Which means that there's a large dip in the active user base, right? Which is part of your reviewing the metrics journey, right? And then you start your process of problem finding, problem solving to understand why that has happened, right? So the day starts with reviewing the metrics and finding if any problems are there. More often than not, it's generally a regular day. Then you go on to work on defining the next set of requirements for the products, figuring out what is to be built next, and then sort of the rest of the day is about collaborating with engineering and sort of design functions, and that's typically the whole day, almost every day. Some of those days will be specifically set up for planning and sort of maintaining, managing roadmaps. Maybe once every 2 weeks, you'll have a day where you're doing some of these, right? And then maybe once a quarter, you're running product strategy, right? Engaging with customers is one of the core things that you should define a proper rhythm for. Typically, I would like to do this every week, but I end up doing it once a month, right? So I spend about 3 to 4 hours a month talking to customers, and that's really key, right? When you are defining your product roadmap and you are understanding what you want to push next on the product, getting the feedback and sort of perspective of the customers is super important, right? Otherwise, you'll be building in isolation. So this is more or less everything that a product manager does, from the most exciting to the least exciting part. Types of product manager. PM is not a very standardized role. Honestly, there are several different types of product managers, but there are 3 broad categories of PMs based on where they lean, and it doesn't mean that an intuition PM will not use user feedback or data, it means that they lean towards intuition while they use both of the other things as well. This is a model that was created by Ravi Mehta, who's also one of the leading product voices in the world. He's ex-chief product officer of Tinder and runs his company Outspace right now. So an intuition-led PM is the one who sort of typically comes into an early stage 0 to 1 product where they bring in their domain understanding of that product, and based on that domain understanding, they have a certain set of intuition of what is good or bad for customers, right? And it involves a lot of creativity. It involves a lot of deep thinking, right? And sort of that. It's fairly well suited for a 0 to 1 kind of a project, right? So intuition is where that category of PMs thrive, and basically Ravi calls these product designers. And the second category is data-led PMs. This is typically for at scale or achieving scale companies or products. So it's good at 1 to 10 or 10 to 100 kind of journeys for product, where you have enough significant data set to make decisions for your product. The one that I was talking about, WhatsApp, falls under this category, where you look at data, you figure out how the product is performing with different categories of users, and you figure out where the gaps are and sort of set out the next set of features for the product to roll out, right? The third category is user feedback, where PMs heavily rely on talking to users and getting feedback from users on their product. This is actually very helpful when you're joining like a 0 to 1 product and you don't bring in the domain expertise for that product, right? When you're new to the domain, the user feedback sessions help build understanding of the user type, build understanding of how users view that product, and sort of obviously helps give a good understanding of the user needs so that you can build the roadmap, etc. Right? So people of different categories index on different axes. Personally, I have more often than not indexed on intuition because of my journey, where I've primarily worked on 0 to 1 products, either in my startups at Nikki.ai or Turtlemint, or now at Tata Neu, where I'm building the InsurTech vertical again from scratch, right? And I come from domain, so my intuition is what sort of helps me pick up speed and sort of move forward. But that doesn't mean I don't rely on data user feedback. I do. Basically, the moment we start seeing products giving significant amount of data, my product setup would move from intuition to data. Right? Then I'll talk a little bit about the core skills for product manager. And there are actually, if you read a bunch of books, etc., on product management, you see a lot of skills that are needed, given that you have to be doing a lot of things as a PM. But I think these are a few that I test out when I interview young PMs, young and aspiring PMs. So I think these are critical skills. There are several other skills that might not be as critical and can be learned over time. But not having these might be a difficult path. All right. So first one is empathy. When I talk about empathy, it's about how you can put yourself in your customer's shoes, right, and understand how they feel at every step. Right. It's different from sympathy, right? Sympathy is knowing that somebody is feeling, say, pain or happiness or something. Empathy is feeling that with the customer, right? And that helps you build customer experiences which will truly bring delight to your users, right? So empathy is a must, right? If you don't have empathy, you will not understand why a certain product is passing or failing or doing well, right? So you have to put yourself in your customer's shoes. So this is one core aspect, and all of these skills actually are skills that you can learn if you know how to sort of go about it. So the best, maybe the best way to think about or to learn about empathy is to pick up one of your favorite products, right, and go screen by screen, right, and figure out how do you feel when you're at a certain screen. What are you looking for? Are you able to find that easily or not? Is the language on the page easily understandable by you or not, right? And some of those will sort of help you understand if basically the PM was empathetic to the customers or not, right? At that page, right? So it's a good way to practice empathy, right? And that'll help you become proficient when you start doing product management. The other core piece is problem identification and solving. More than solving, actually, problem identification is key. I'm pretty sure all of you are smart guys, so problem solving is not a difficult thing for you guys to pick up once you know the problem. But identifying a problem, seeing it early, that's game changer in product management, right? If you can see problems before you've shipped the product, that saves you a lot of trouble, lot of cost, lot of customer mistrust, right? So problem identification becomes a very, very key part of a PM journey. And then, of course, solving it, but not just solving it for the short term, solving it more creatively, solving it for the long term, right? Those are things that you'll have to think through when you're doing the problem solving part of it, right? The third is collaboration and influencing. And this is, one of the things that you don't understand how important this is unless you start in the program. I've heard this several times, looking at product interviews or product sessions, etc. That product manager is the CEO of the product, right? But unfortunately, that, at least to my understanding, is not true, right? Because in case of a CEO, everybody reports into you, right? So you have organizational authority over everybody's work, right? So you can ask everybody in that organization to do a certain thing that you like the way you like, right? In a product role, you have authority over no one, right? A product function is parallel to an engineering function, parallel to a design function, marketing function, a growth function, right? Customer support, sales. It has organizational authority over nobody, right? Nobody reports into a product manager, right? But you still have to get work done by these functions, right? And that's where, there's one gentleman called Anuj Rathi, right, who's right now the Chief Product Marketing Officer for Jupiter and spent a considerable amount of time at Swiggy. He calls a PM a full stack influencer, which I think is a very true statement, right? Because you have to influence everybody from the junior most person on the engineering quality teams to the senior most person, and in most cases up to the CEO, right? So you have to be a full stack influencer, and the best way of doing that is by knowing your customer really deeply, right? If you know the customers really well, then nobody will be able to argue with you, right? Because you know what's best for your customer, right? So influencing is core. Collaboration is again core. So you can influence people to get your work done, but in functions like sales, marketing, etc., which are outbound business functions, collaboration is also key, right? Because you might build a great product, right, having an influence on the engineering, design, marketing team, right? But if the sales doesn't pick up your product to take it to market, then what's the purpose, right? So you have to collaborate with parallel or senior management functions, right? and sort of get your product out to ship to the customers and supported by the different functions, right? So that's a very key feature, right? Comfort with data, I think this is one thing, especially for engineering graduates, is not a big challenge generally. At least that's what I've seen. That people with an engineering background come with a little bit of analytical bent of mind. So you need to be comfortable managing a lot of data. You should be comfortable reading data, drawing insights from data, etc. This is generally because PMs come from all wakes of careers. So if a PM is coming from, say, a design background or arts background or humanities background, right? They are probably great at empathy, right? But comfort with data is something that they want to maybe upskill, right? When they're looking to get into a product management function, right? Engineers I've seen have a lot of problem. One in empathy, but more than that in the collaborating and influencing part, because you have to do you have to talk to a lot of people in the organizations. Engineers typically tend to be to themselves, right? And which is where this is one key skill that you have to open up to, right? When you're thinking about picking a product management role. Understanding of engineering. So this is something that is not a core sort of requirement generally, but I think this is a difference between a good PM and a great PM, right? Could be a very big differentiator, right? And this is something that I've seen from my own personal experience, that the PMs who were parallel to me struggled getting things delivered on time when it came to execution, because they did not speak the language of the engineers, and engineers typically trust and respect folks who understand their language as well, right? And my early career in engineering definitely helped here. Definitely, sort of even to this date, helped me convince engineers on several new product ideas that I take to them. Yeah. So that was one part of the presentation where I was primarily sort of talking about what product management is. Wanted to do a quick deep dive on that. The other part is how do you get to a PM role, right? And like I said, this is primarily from the point of view of a fresh graduate, or from the point of view of early career folks, right? And typically this is given that product management is such a complex role, right? One of the things that people always have in mind is that what all do I need to understand, right, to get a PM job, right? Is it experience? Do I need to understand tech, design, data? Do I need all of these? Do I need some of these, right? And sometimes it becomes so daunting, right? I speak to a lot of folks in engineering design, etc., and a lot of them have a good knack for a product role, but just the idea of spreading too thin is so daunting that they never apply, right? So let me break it to you. Basically, even at the fresh out of graduate level, there are ample and more opportunities directly in product functions, right? Basically, there is the associate product manager role. In a lot of companies, it's a proper program where companies hire freshers or 0 to 2 years of work ex in this program. Companies like Google, etc., run this as a specialized program to enter product management. And so if companies in India, also large consumer tech startups like Flipkart, Swiggy, etc., run this as a proper program where they hire freshers every year into an associate product manager program. Another, so in APM program, basically you get a glimpse of product management, where generally the role is around program managing a certain execution strategy, where you'll be looking at a small part of the product and you'll own that end to end, where you'll get a small engineering team, maybe a designer, to take it end to end to from start to hand to the customer. Uh, in general, in most good APM roles, you will get the responsibility of a core metric, or maybe more than one core metrics for a particular product, which means you will be responsible for that core metric for the product as well as for the organization, right? So it's a fairly high value program. If you guys can sort of take a look at these, right? There are two allied programs to product management. One is product marketing management, and the other one is product analyst. So there are associate product marketing manager roles as well. So product marketing manager's core job is to take the product to the customers and drive customer adoption. This is a great role, when you're looking to understand customers deeply, because you will, once you take the product to the customer, you will understand what the customers like, don't like, what they react to, what they don't react to, what channels are they available on, are they approachable on WhatsApp, on email, on calls, right? And to what kind of messaging they mostly respond to, right? Do they respond to a price sensitive message? Do they respond to a feature sensitive message, right? So you learn a lot about the customers in this role, right? It's also a very good role. A bunch of companies run this. In a few companies, it's part of the product function. In some companies, it's part of the marketing function. But nevertheless, you get to drive the product adoption metric, which is a very key metric for any organization, right? Then third one is a product analyst. This is more of a data first approach, where the products that are getting built, you get to see the input and the output metrics of that product. So what kind of customers are coming in, from what channels are they coming in, how long are they staying, and then you get to look at some of the core product metrics. Product metrics are different than business metrics. Some of the basic product metrics will be how quickly does it take for a user to, say, sign up, right, on a platform, right? Or how often does a user come back to your product, right? Do they come back every day to your product? Do they come back once a month? Do they come back once a year, right? And once a customer goes through your product journey, right? What is the percentage of of customers who come back and do a second transaction, who come back and do a third transaction, right? So which is called retention, right? So a product analyst becomes really deep in the product metrics, and it's a very good way, again, to start a product career, right? So all of these are fairly straightforward product roles which are available at a fresher level, at an entry level, and you guys should definitely check out some of these roles in large tech startups, both in India and outside, right? Given that now there are a lot of remote product roles also, you guys can basically take a look at that as well, right? So the other way to product management is the path that I took, which was an alternate path, where you start off as at a different role, but you move yourself to product management. Engineering is one such core path, and I think a lot of high quality engineers could turn into product managers. And the problem is that the thought process of an engineer and product manager are so different that more often than not, the engineers don't even think about product roles, right? But typically, if you want to move from an engineering to product role, these are 4 things that I've listed what you should do, right? Engineers are more about how, right? Which means they want to figure out how to build a product. They want to figure out how to lower performance. They want to figure out how to reuse code, etc. I think as an engineer, it's important also to build a clear understanding of why you're building something. Why do you want to reduce sort of time lag? Why do you want to reuse components. What does it mean from a customer standpoint? That is an additional sort of interest that you'll have to take in your product. And if you're able to do that, that'll take you closer to a product role. One of the other things that you should do is talk to customers. In the engineering testing phase, typically what I've seen in organizations is that engineers ship out the product to the QA to test out, right, which are not actual customers. And I think this is a great opportunity for engineers and QA alike, right, to go to customers, talk to customers, see how they're using the product, figure out if their problem is truly getting solved or not, right? Maybe just 2-3 interviews per product launch will get you excited about customer problems, right? So talking to customers during testing phase is a no-brainer, but nobody does it, right? So this is something that if you're an engineer trying to move to product, this is something that you should definitely start doing, right? Question your PMs. Basically, this is something that a lot of engineers do, but they don't do it in the right context, right? You should definitely question your PMs on every new requirement that a PM is bringing in, on every change that a PM is bringing in, to understand what is their thought process, right? How did they arrive at this being the most important thing to do, right? And that'll give you a good glimpse of what goes on in the mind of a product manager, right, when they are prioritizing what to build next, right? And then the last one is measurement of success, right? I think this is one thing that I've seen companies starting to do now, but it happens still at a very high level. Each individual engineer either doesn't get to do it or is not interested in measuring the success of their code. I think the only way they measure the success of their code base is just fundamentally, how many merge requests are getting merged into main branch, right? But that's not good enough, right? You should measure how it performs, how many customers are using it, are customers dropping off, etc., right? So I think measuring success of your code is also a very, very important part. If you do all of these 4, right, I think within a year, you'll be very, very close to how a product manager thinks, right? And then taking a jump is fairly simple, right? The other path is entrepreneurship path, and I already spoke about it. Basically, it does 2 things. The one is it gives you an immense, ownership, and I don't think anybody in an organization owns the business problem as much as the founder does. So if you get to be a founder at any point of time, that's a great way to learn ownership. And once you've been through that, you can easily translate that to your product role, right? And product management does require a lot of ownership. It's one role where, even if a little bit of complacency seeps in, the whole quarter or annual plan also, for that matter, can go off the charts, right? So ownership is one thing that you learn from entrepreneurship. So that's a very clear path. Plus, it also gives you a very deep sense of customer love. Because you start talking to customers, you start solving deeply for customers as an entrepreneur. So it brings in a lot of customer love, right? Which is again very, very similar to what your role as a PM would look like, right? So those 2 are core paths to entrepreneurship. Core paths to product management. But there are several other paths, right? Like I said, product manager is a very varied role. So it doesn't have to be through a well thought out path. It could be from any wake of field, right? It could be from data, it could be from design, marketing, business, could even be from humanities, arts, whatever you've done before in life, right, can bring you closer to your customers and therefore can bring you closer to a product role. So if you're looking at getting into a product role, there are several upskilling programs available now. When I was starting out, there was absolutely nothing. But thankfully now at this stage, people take product management very seriously, and they understand that in a lot of companies, the difference between a successful and a failed company is having a strong product management function, right? So I've listed some of these left to right. Is the cheapest to the most expensive. Insurjo is run by a community called the Product Folks. It used to be free. I don't know if it is still free, but it's a good cohort. There'll be a certain set of sessions from product industry leaders, and you can listen to them on different weeks and different parts of product management. There'll also be some hands-on exercise, etc. in Insurjo, so you could take a look at that. Another one is Next Leap, again founded by some of early product managers in the Indian startup ecosystem, coming from Flipkart, etc. And it works like a 3-month fellowship program where you also get mentorship, etc. from the industry. And the good thing about Next Leap is also that it gives you a little bit of placement support, right, when you're looking for a job as a PM, right? A little bit higher than that in terms of expenses. Upgrad has a certificate course, which is almost a 6-month course in collaboration with Duke University on product management. They also do sort of some placement help when it comes to roles in product management in startups, going from early stage to late stage. Right. So these are more of Indian players. There are a bunch of good American players as well. There's Maven, which is one of the largest, live course platform, and product management courses is one of the key segments on Maven, where you'll see some of the industry leaders like Shreyas Doshi, etc., running their own product management courses. And then finally, you have Reforge. This one is actually a very deep dive product management course, and you could and like Reforge typically has courses for every level of product management. I'm pretty sure it'll have a course even for me, right? And it's built by some of the best guys in the industry. It's also taught by some of the best guys in the industry. So it's a fairly good course, but it's a little bit expensive, right? So you guys can go through any of these and sort of also get a sense of what you want to do. But these are not the only ones. There are several product management cohort-based courses that are available. I would recommend taking a cohort-based course instead of taking a do-it-yourself kind of a course like Coursera, etc. Because a cohort-based course keeps you in a classroom with other students, and you learn from their experiences. You do assignments together. You build a relationship in the program, right? So, and there is like a proper instructor on the course, so that is helpful as well, right? Some of the other things I think I just wanted to sort of leave it here, which is product management is a very closely knit community as well, right? And people learn from each other's experiences. It's also new, so a lot of interesting studies have been coming from companies that are successful in product management. And one of the most interesting communities that I saw is the product folks community. They have a lot of online plus offline events that they do. They also have a Slack channel, so you guys can join the Slack channel and be a part of proper PM community of folks who are in the industry and will be available at on the channel, right, for any questions, etc. that you have. They also run a job board, which is a job board specific to product management jobs, and they've done a good job of curating jobs in India specifically. So you can look at that. The other ones, basically Lenny's newsletter is also a global community of product managers. Uh, Lenny Rachitsky used to lead growth at Airbnb, and he started this newsletter, some time back, and has grown exponentially over the last few years. And I'm also a big fan of his work. He writes really lucid articles on different sort of variables in product management, growth. Brings on a lot of very interesting guests on his podcasts, and also runs a separate job board, right, for global product roles. So you can look at remote roles, etc., on the Lenny sort of job board as well. The third one is Shreyas. Shreyas is also one of the top voices in product management globally. He I think last he worked at Stripe, which is one of the largest payment gateway companies in the world. He has what he has done is he has curated product management openings, through his following on Twitter and Instagram, and he's put that together on something called Open PM Jobs. So you'll be able to see jobs from Twitter, from LinkedIn, both in India, outside, remote, non-remote, everything on his on the Open PM Jobs portal. So these are just some of the job boards. There are several such boards available for PM roles. I think PM community is one of the most strongly knit communities in the world, and they're always ready to help each other out. So if you at any point you think you guys are looking to get onto a PM role, or you are in a PM role and you're sort of struggling with some issues, some customer problems that you want to brainstorm, more than happy to do it with you guys as well, right? Yeah, that's more or less from me. More than happy to take any questions right now.
And thank you, Yaadish. The slides are really very much informative and wonderful. And I would like if anyone has any questions, they can unmute themselves and ask. I guess the slides answered all the questions already.
No worries. Yeah, absolutely. So I've left my LinkedIn, Twitter, Medium QRs on the screen. If you guys want to connect, you can reach out. More than happy to connect over any of these platforms. If you guys are looking at a career in product management, more than happy to chat over the next few weeks, months. Really happy talking to a bunch of IIT Bhubaneswar students, alumnus. It's been a while since I moved out of the college.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that the internet hasn't improved significantly, but it's really good to see you guys taking this up.
Yes, we also had some questions. We collected questions through Google Forms. So here are some questions I would ask to us. So person asked about the product management at Tata Digital.
Yeah.
So what are open about that?
Yeah, see, so Tata Digital is a fairly large organization, right? So it is built in a way. So basically, I'll explain it through Tata New, which is a super app. Tata Digital does several things, but the super app typically is a combination of commerce and financial services. There are commerce, products like commerce products like Big Basket, 1MG, Tata Click, etc. Part of that. Their financial services products like payments, credit, insurance, investment that are part of that, right? So each of these are categories which we call product pods, where there's the head of product. Then there are product managers for individual product problems. So, for instance, in insurance, there's a PM for motor insurance, there's a PM for health insurance, there's a PM for life insurance. In payments, there's a PM for UPI, there's a payment for payment gateway, there's a PM for loyalty program, right? And typically, each of these PMs have their own engineering team, design team, marketing team, and they have their own revenue target, etc., to sort of build on. That's how it is structured in traditional.
Okay, thank you. And we got a question from Akansha Tiwari now that what is the most challenging part of PM and what problems you faced in your PM career, if any?
Yeah, I think, see, when I was starting out as a PM, right, one of the things that you have to live with, right? And I was moving from engineering to product management. So, while you're doing engineering, right, things are very streamlined, right? So you're very deep in what you're doing, right? So you go 2-3 levels deep, you solve a problem, right? So whenever you're, for instance, writing code, right, you need to have deep focus in terms of what you're doing, right? Whereas when you move to product management is all chaos, right? It's about how you make sense of that chaos, right? Because there'll be, like I said, you have to take the hat of being a jack of all trades, right? Which means you should be able to talk to engineering, you have to talk to design, you have to talk to marketing. So you go from deep focus to a lot of chaos very quickly, right? And that's typically hard if you don't know how to, influence people, how to sort of collaborate with multiple teams together, how to understand what they need. So that's one thing that when I switched to product, that I saw going out of hand a little bit when I started out. But then what I realized, and this is something that my manager at that point was the head of product at Turtlemint.
Okay.
The co-founder at Turtlemint. He told me that one of the things that works for PMs in such chaos is just writing down, right? And therefore, what I do even today, right, is do a lot of note taking, right? Inherently, writing things down give you a lot of clarity, right? So that's one thing that I would recommend, even in other roles, right? Not just in product, but even in other roles. If you were in the midst of a chaotic role, or even in engineering or marketing or design, whatever you pick up, I think writing down what you need is a fairly good way of solving that, right? And I think that has helped me significantly in sort of building out.
Yeah, we got just one last question. I have an interview tomorrow. Are there any specific points I should keep in mind? It is an HR tech company.
Yeah, so basically, honestly, every company interviews. Every company interviews differently, right? So I don't know what that company is going to interview for, right? I told you what I interview for, right? I typically, if it's an engineer, I don't want to interview people for data primarily, right? Because I would assume that you come from an analytical background, right? So you'll be comfortable with data. What I would like to interview you for is for problem identification and solving, 2 for empathy, and 3 for how good are you in influencing people and sort of collaborating with groups. So I think with those 3 problems in mind, I think that's how you should think about it. But again, like I said, it's not a professional advice because the company that you are interviewing might have very different objectives in mind, right?
So I guess that's all for today. I really want to thank you again. That was a wonderful explanation of the product management world.
Hi, Ruth.
Yeah, I hope it helps. Yeah, Yaadish.
Hi, sorry for interrupting. Yaadish, I just wanted to say hi. Yeah.
Hi. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good too. Thank you. Yeah, nice to hear from you after
After
a
so long, yeah.
very, very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, after very long. I hope you had fun. I hope I didn't go overboard
No, no,
preaching to the converted.
no, it's very interesting. I mean, for us, we're still mainly doing academic research, but looking into some product development with some partnering companies. So I was very curious to learn more formally about about product management, and
Perfect.
it's really helpful to get an introduction.
Yeah, perfect. Let me know, Harish, if you need any further help. More than happy to
Yeah. Thank you
help
very
you out.
much, Yaadish. Thank you. I
Yeah,
just wanted
thanks.
to jump in and say hi. Yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ritvik, Soham. Super helpful. Yeah. Thank you for setting this up. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.